This is This Way the People News. We're going to have this little video about juries. Alright, let's proceed forward.
Many people have been deprived of information so much to the point where the care and the foresight or necessity of proper information has been thrown to the side by so many people. And because of that, people really don't like their daily activities. They don't like themselves. They don't like anyone else. Because they've been deprived. People are starving of information. And on the other hand, those who are fed certain types of information are fed limited amounts of information, sort of like multiple tests. Ask you one question and they give you fixed sets of response for you to respond, without you using your own cognitive thinking to think outside the box. One creates the problem and creates the solution. Someone creates the problem and limits your solution. So when some people start learning certain things, they only learn it from fixed perspectives. And they limit their reality to those fixed perspectives, when in truth there are abundance of things. And because many people have been deprived of information, and most of their perception of life is based on limitation, I would give this mild caveat regarding trial jury and the process of selecting your own proper jury. If you don't have a team that you are working with, it will probably be best for you to not even bother by this. The reason why I say that is because people, on the other hand, are very organized. The odds of you finding someone who actually truly knows about the Constitution, believe it or not, is quite low, especially in the Western world. As much as people might want to big up the Western world, their advance, all that crap, there's a corresponding end to that is very derogatory. And deep down, most people who domicile in the Western world know this. Deep down, everyone else in other parts of the world are well aware of this. And that's the fact that most people in the Western world are the least informed amount of people that have the greatest potential to be the most informed, but unfortunately remains the least informed. They have the greatest potential to be the most informed, but know not much about how the world works. I don't either. I'm still in the process of learning it. Because of the little that I know, I'm going to tell you this. If you don't have a group of people who knows that the governments are instituted by the power of the people, don't ever bother with voir dire or voir dire. Because on one hand, those juries that will be put on that panel for you to select and go through the preliminary challenges, very good chance exists that they're being paid off. And also, if you're relying on testimony to win a case, then you're going to show some witness testimony to the jurors and say, hey, look, juror, this is the testimony of this guy, and because of that, you guys should make a decision this way or put this into consideration. Regardless of whether it's trial by jury or a bench trial, by the way, in some cases, bench trials might prove to be more beneficial to you. That's a one-on-one battle with that acting judge. And if you've come right and done everything right, that acting judge would not look bad. In fact, the moment that you demand for a bench trial will raise an alarm. And they would not take it to trial. This is from first-hand experience. So if you know that you don't have a group of people working with you who really comprehend foundational principles of what they call isonomy or government and everything else regarding it, whether you call it civil rights or whatever it is, it's the most basic common sense that, hey, you and I make up the society and we ought to actively engage in it. You would have a conversation with people and they would refer to the society as though it's something external to them. Whereas They are part of that society. You and I make up society. Same thing applies with government. People refer to government this, government that, as though the government is something external from them, as though it's something separate from them. You are the government. That supposed government is just a mere manifestation of your intent. You are it. If you don't have people around you that don't know about this, or at least maybe just a couple of people, the voir dire, you probably want to put it aside. Know that it's a tool you can use. And if you're not really approaching things first on a spiritual level, not when I say spiritual level, I'm not talking about trend. I'm not talking about fashion of lighting an incense, looking a certain way. I'm talking about you are real with it all the way. You're willing to go a whole day just repeating one very simple intent and have a whole day, a whole week, a whole month, whole quarter of the year revolve around that one specific intent. For the color of the things you wear, the things you keep around you, the things you smell, the things you see, the things you hear, all of that. Is that when you truly begin to see changes? And you truly comprehend what the term spiritual, this is just what I call it. I call it spiritual probable cause. These things they do to people out here, it gives everyone more than enough of a spiritual probable cause. Go up there in that in corporate realm and really get some things done. And you will see the result here. This physical thing that you're observing with your five senses. It, in fact, gets that simple. If you're not on that level, then just leave voir dire alone. Leave voir dire alone and battle it the way you know how to. But nonetheless, going back to the mundane stuff, which is if you're relying on testimony to win any case, whether it's a bench trial, trial by jury, then I'll be honest with you, you've already lost your cause of action. And when you lose your cause of action, you lose the case. It slips right out of your hand. Why? Because you're relying on the testimony to win a case. Stop for a moment and think about that. Rewind that and rehear it and think about it. All the preponderance of evidence you have is a mere testimony. You know that thing called rules regarding hearsay? There's a lot of loopholes to make hearsays admissible, to make testimonies admissible. And just as much as there are many loopholes to make hearsays and testimonies admissible, there's even more to make it inadmissible. And they will not lay it out to you that, hey, according to this section of rules of evidence, your testimony is not admissible. Yes, they have first-hand knowledge and experience. Yes, they wrote that affidavit. But they're not going to tell you certain subtleties that you fail to put into place. So if you're relying solely on testimony to win any case, and you're thinking that testimony is what you're going to show a panel of jurors, you've lost the cause of action. Just a little caveat. Those things that you see in movies and animations, cartoons, how some guy or some woman testifies and sits there and the acting judge makes a decision based on that. In reality, that accounts for way less than how things actually goes. All that dramatic back and forth stuff you see in movies and you're getting emotional and then the soundtrack changes and the pace moves and maybe you might create that reality with your mind if you think that's what it is. But the reality is, before that even takes place, has been decided exactly what's going to happen. All that stuff you see in movies about how trial goes with jurors and witness, if you ever see that happen physically, first-hand experience in your life, know that that's just going through the motions of an actor. Trials are too important to be left up to juries who know nothing about how the Constitution works. You must cross-examine them before they begin to make a verdict, on what happened to you for the rest of your life. You say you have rights, right? You say you're one of the people, right? Then put the right of due process, the power of the people to use when it comes to the Vardir. Word out. Use the power of the people. Use your discretion and just read between the lines of this word. Use the power of the people when it comes to trial by jury. When it comes to jury of your own peer, that is it right there. Use the power of the people. Get people to come together specifically for that trial by jury. Use the right to have witness in your favor. Put it to use. Gather witnesses and people in your favor. Because remember, the jurors are witnessing the facts. If you've gotten to this part of the road within any proceeding, the process of picking suitable jurors, Vardir or Vordir, is way more crucial than the actual trial itself and everything else that occurs prior to that. In summary, what is Vardir? Vardir is basically two main things. Primarily, it is a process of elimination. Then, after the process of elimination, and then only, by virtue of such elimination, you pick the jurors. Primary intent is to weed out the bad and potential ones. By the time you weed it out, whatever's left is what's been automatically picked. That's Vardir. That's Vordir. Majority of the people that makes up the jury have within their conscious and subconscious mind things like mortgage, child support, other types of addictions, other life issues, bills, all those things. This is the consciousness of the people that are sitting there as jurors. Put that into consideration before you start demanding for trial by jury. Like the fact that they can easily be paid off. Happens way more frequent than you would ever imagine. This is not all there is to Vardir or Vordir, and however you pronounce it. There are many more things that must be done.
And we need to also throw out there to kind of keep in mind, we also need to know jury notification, y'all. And I do not say use it and say it in court because it's not illegal and it's not legal, right? It is what it is. And there's only one or two states that actually lets the juries know about jury notification. Other ones really try to disparage of it. In fact, if you want to get out of a jury, all you have to do is just tell them, well, I can't do this because I believe in jury notification. And then most likely they'll never call you for jury again. Just saying. If you don't want to be there, I don't want you on the jury to trial me. You know what I mean? So it's easier just for you to never be called.
On the back end, the private sector of things, you move things in your favor. You loosely hear about, things regarding contracts and private contracts, the judge's number, the judge's oath bond, all that. All that stuff people talk about regarding having security interests, all that copyright stuff, you must have all that in place. That alone doesn't stand by itself, and it's not sufficient to help you get rid of something serious. That alone allows you to begin to have standing. And how you work with the dynamics of the judicial aspect is how you enforce all those other things. Nothing goes without the other. Don't isolate it. Do things holistically, because they're meant to be. Another thing is this. There will always be a British accredited registered member. On the other hand, always. And whatever firm he or she works for, they have something called a firm emergency reserve. In short and succinct term, without speaking too much, what you want is for that other attorney, acting as a pest, for him or her and their firm to dig into that emergency reserve by creating private liabilities during that process of elimination or before that process of elimination or dire. Remember, an attorney can only play the role of a witness and can be impeached just like any other witness. And this impeachment is not limited to the public suit itself. And
Alrighty, y'all. This will be the People News. I don't know. What do you guys think? Till next time. Bye.